This is just a quick overview of what's happening with payday filing in your Crystal Payroll. So there's been some changes. What you're seeing here is a pre-release. The full release is expected to be out this week. I'm just waiting for IRD to come back and sign off on the data. So basically what will happen, it's very simple. I'll show you a couple of things in this video. The first thing is if you are doing, or when you do your payday filing, for most of you it is built into the payroll process in the take-home pay screen. So if I come into my take-home pay screen, you'll see here there is a new button over here on the right, which is send to IRD. So basically when you've finished your pay period, you've approved all of your pays, you'll simply click on this button. Now there's some work you've got to do before this as far as setup, etc. I'll come back to that in a second. Basically you'll click that button and all of the data will be transmitted to the IRD, and that's as much as you'll have to do. Now there are other options for getting reports, etc., which I'll show now. So the first thing that you would need to do, and this is something that we will also run a seminar on this before the end of the month, but in the payroll settings, this is a one-off activity. There is a new option here, which is payday filing settings. So the first thing you would have to do is to authenticate your Crystal Payroll, which you would click on that button. It would then ask you to log into the My IR site. So this is all assuming that you have registered for My IR and that you are registered for payday filing, which most of you will be. So you would authenticate that, which means that any user of Crystal Payroll in your organization who has access to reports and the take-home pay screen is able to submit the payday filing data each pay period. Then there's a couple of other options here, which is you would enable the function. Obviously that would be on. There's two auto filing options. So there's an option to auto file as soon as you approve the pay. This basically you can fire off the information to the IRD. There's an option here to send the information to the IRD as you approve each employee in the pay period, which will be less common, I would imagine, for most of you. So the auto pay. And then the third option, which is not on this screen, is done via the reports menu. And there is some new options in the report. So there is the payday filing list. So in here, if you were doing it manually and you weren't doing on auto load, in here, and it catches up with me, this is a list of all of the pay periods, and then you can simply submit. Now there's a whole pile of clever stuff being done, which I'm not going to concentrate on this video, where you can retrieve data that you've sent to the IRD, you can resubmit, you can submit amendments, but I'm not going to cover that now. But basically you would come in here and you would submit the data. The other options that you've got under this reports menu now is you've got your employer deduction analysis, so you can look at a particular pay period. If I look that into, let's say 2 will do. So this is a period based, and it'll give you a breakdown of effectively what would have been in the old IR 348. So this is the deduction analysis that shows the information that's going to the IRD. So that's what will be returned if you needed to print out a hard copy, if you're that way inclined. And there is also an option to submit new employee details. So for example, if you have an employee that's joined, you can submit their details to the IRD via the payroll. So it takes the data straight out of the payroll and submits it to the IRD as a new record in your payroll system. And that's both new, updated and terminated employees. So the process is pretty seamless, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how easy it is to use. But we'll come back to you in more detail once we've got a releasable version, and we'll organise the, it'll be a webinar demo and also an in-person demo if you're in Hawke's Bay. So hopefully that's of interest.